Today we need to get into Jung Kook's harsh military situation being talked about and what was being said. We also have Jung Kook fainting apparently during one of his shows or training, and that clip sort of resurfaced and is being talked about. So of course we have to talk about it. And then we have Jung Kook being mocked online and what that is about. So hey Dumplings, it's safe to decide hate it or not. Make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Make sure you join us fangirling on Patreon with some free content on Saturdays now, and let's go. There's a lot of mockery online recently, and specifically of Jung Kook. Now, the mockery comes from several different places, but I think overall what people are realizing is that the bubble that they built for themselves have sort of started crumbling. The fantasy has sort of formed cracks in it. The fantasy that a lot of people in the community have is that Jung Kook is someone who is innocent and wouldn't want to have sex or wouldn't want to date, and just a ball of innocence, of cuteness. And when he did his solo stuff and people saw that he has talked about more things, more adult things, and more grown-up things, I think it shattered people's fantasies of him. It's odd because at the same time they see him as this infant, this child, this bunny, this cute ball of a thing, and they only want to see him in that way. But then they want to date him, which makes no sense to me. We don't live in a current world where a lot of people have sex before marriage. We don't live in a current world where a lot of people are not having sex after the third date or talking about sex or thinking about it. We don't live in a world where money isn't important. We don't live in a world where those things are not something that people care about. So when it seems that someone cares about those things, apparently it's seen as a bad thing in the K-pop world. And I know what I'm saying is very controversial. However, that seems to be the reality of how the world is, whether you like it or not. Now, is the entire world just those things? Absolutely not. But those play a big factor into how the world is run. And let's face it, the reality of what it is. And a lot of men and a lot of people will simply do a lot of things just for sex. Again, not everyone, but there are almost countless stories in which you can hear a guy literally getting married just so that he can have sex on a regular basis, not even because they love the person that they're marrying. Of course, Jung Kook is a decent person. He wouldn't do this. Otherwise, he would be married by now. But don't be surprised when a human being does something bad. He is not incapable of doing bad things. Every single one of us is capable of doing bad things. And every single one of us is not as innocent as you would think. The things that are considered bad things, according to K-pop fans, are things like wanting to make money or wanting to have a partner and all that sort of stuff. How have we moved as a society where that is being looked at as a bad thing? So there's recently been a lot of statements online that have come out where HYBE has talked about the hate and has addressed it and has addressed what they will do. There were a lot of rumors of cults, and specifically Jung Kook, and maybe some of the other BTS members being in cults. And then also several other posts that are not just containing misinformation, but things that are defaming people, which I want to clarify. Misinformation is not something you can take legal action on, because if I sit there and try to prove that so-and-so artist has the best album in the world, and even if it isn't true, that isn't misinformation that can be taken legal action on, because it's a positive thing. So people are saying that the label is specifically talking about comments that are defamatory, comments that are targeted at a specific member. And a lot of stuff is happening in this world lately where a lot of people are saying really awful things about any of the BTS members. And the reason why is because they are upset. The crack is breaking, and in order to feel justice with the world and feel everything is okay, they feel like they have to target the person who has broken the bubble and broken the fantasy for them, which of course would be Jung Kook. I'm not going to go over these specific hate comments and all the awful things that are being said specifically in this video. You have an entire page and channel that you can go through if you want to see hate comments, and that's this one right here. So if you're interested, go have a binge and watch some of the old videos. But the label is addressing these things now, and it seems like they are taking it seriously. And it is good to know, because a lot of the hate comments from these people who've had their fantasy broken are not just things like, oh no, I hate so-and-so member. It's now them threatening the member or trying to kill them or leaking their personal information. Of course, it's not just awful and bad things that are happening. There are some cool things that are being talked about right now. And specifically, there was a magazine called DAZE. I believe they talked about Jung Kook's Enlistment and compared it similarly to Elvis. Now, I actually didn't know that Elvis enlisted, which is a pretty cool fact about him. But what's even more awesome is that now there's an article that exists where it associates our favorite idol with an all-time iconic idol in the US. They also continue to say that by Elvis enlisting, it actually broadened his appeal to the mass audience. Because I think a lot of people were sort of excited for the the idea that someone like Elvis was serving the country and serving everyone in the country. And maybe they felt like it was a way for Elvis to give back for all his fame and fortune. However, I think this is interesting for Jung Kook because I don't think a lot of people see the military in the same way as they used to. Of course, I think a lot of people still respect those people who go to the military. I think they still show respect to those people. Say hi, really love the idea that there's someone defending them and someone standing there holding a gun in a uniform. It looks pretty powerful, right? You don't typically want to mock them. However, the military lately has been seen as not in a great light. People are not happy with the idea that wars are starting. People are not happy with this idea that the government is funding so much of it. Sure, joining the military isn't really seen, at least from what I know, as a way to serve the country anymore. More so as seen as a way to gain government benefits. And also seen as you don't have anything else to do, so you enlisted. And again, this is what the younger generation might be thinking, at least from what I'm aware of. And this is not a broad statement applying to everyone. This is just from what I've seen. I don't feel this way. I know a lot of people still don't feel this way. And I think it's a great honor to serve, but I do think that it is seen differently now. So making this comparison is interesting because I don't know if a lot of the younger people reading it would agree. Now, there was a video that was going viral recently, and people were wondering if it was recent or if it was happening currently at the military. And there was a video where you could see Jung Kook had passed out and he was put on a stretcher to be rushed to the ER. Now, in case you can't tell, I believe this was a behind the scenes BTS episode, and it was posted on their YouTube channel. And it was just documenting some of the process that the boys go through. Now, this isn't the first time that I believe Jung Kook and maybe even some of the other members have faced complications during training and performances. It is incredibly hard to make sure that you're breathing right, that you're drinking enough water, and that you're doing everything that you need to do when you have a really, really busy schedule. If you're going from 8 a.m. all the way to 2 a.m. nonstop, and it's physically demanding stuff, then you're going to forget to do some of the things that you need to do to take care of yourself. So fainting and that sort of stuff would probably happen. They have ways to get around this. Typically, the medic that is in the area would provide out some oxygen. So essentially oxygen in a can that they can just kind of spray and inhale it. This way they can get oxygen into their heart and into the blood as fast as possible by inhaling as much oxygen as possible. Other things that medics can do is like give you B12 shots or energy booster shots. I don't actually know if it's B12 that's in the shots, but basically they inject it into the butt or stomach, I think. I don't know for sure, but they inject it in these areas and it gives you a boost of energy. Other things are IVs. So they will literally give you an IV treatment. They will just put it in your veins and inject a saltwater solution or whatever to make sure that your body stays hydrated. Things like Gatorade or Powerade could help. However, you don't really see the boys drink much of that. So that could be something that they could try to implement going forward to avoid doing any of the passing out. This is also why the boys probably accelerate so much in the military and do such a great job and move forward and up very fast, is because they're training on normal days when they're just doing music and touring is probably so rigorous that the training that they're doing now really isn't hard for them. I don't think that they have passed out in the military once. I think there would be a big headline and that would be all over the news. I think that they're doing well and they're fine, but it really goes to show if they're not passing out in the military, but they have passed out numerous times while performing and training, then that shows that their normal music schedule and all that is definitely a lot harder, or at least hard on their body for them. It's also nothing to worry about. And I think it really does highlight how hard they work. I think people look at the video and then they get angry at the label to say that the label is not taking care of the boys. However, a lot of the stuff that they have gone through, i.e. passing out and that sort of stuff, has been from themselves. The label does not push them to go past that point. Them wanting to succeed and all that stuff is an innate desire that they have had. There are so many idols now within the label that do not work as hard as BTS does, and that should tell you that the label is not pushing the idols like you think. And hopefully gone are those days. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for the comment right here. Love you. Bye.